All right, thanks for making the Locked On Ole Miss podcast your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcast, including YouTube. So do us a favor, subscribe to the YouTube channel, hit the bell, and participate in the conversation by commenting down below or upvoting the video itself. We'd appreciate it. Also, I want to let you know that LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the qualified candidates you want to talk to faster. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. That's linkedin.com/lockedoncollege to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. I'm here with Jason Jordan, and, normally we talk recruiting, but right now with everything's going on, I think as we record this, Ole Miss is 1-9 in the SEC. They have a game coming up at Georgia. The season has deteriorated and hasn't done what Kermit hoped it would do. So the first thing that Ole Miss fans wants to know, because the conversation is not really if it will happen, but when it will happen. So how would this, if for some reason Ole Miss made a change Thursday or whenever that is, or in March, what's the differences that would happen with the current recruiting signees?
I think at the end of the day, whether we're talking hypothetically, if they do it now, if they do it in March, recruits tend to play the wait and see game. What they're waiting on is who's coming in to replace him, right? Because then we're going to make our decision based off that guy and, what kind of guy he is, what kind of success he's had. You look at what just happened with Texas. And, they had a lot of marquee guys that took the wait and see and are taking the wait and see approach with Texas, and nobody's backed out yet. And so what waiting the next month would give you is less time with speculation, because nobody's really going to make a hire until after, well into the tournament or after, because what you're going to do is you're going to find stars in the coaching stars always emerge in the tournament, right? You'll get the guy that's hot. I mean, look at Shaheen Holloway last year, back at his alma mater now, because of the run he had. So, that's what waiting would give you. And that, from a recruit's perspective, 90% of the time, a recruit is going to be like, well, I'm just waiting to see. That's their go-to line. I'm just waiting to see what all happens. I'm just kind of in a holding pattern at this time. And I think that's what would happen either way.
Yeah. And, the funny thing is like the Ole Miss fan base, they actually genuinely like Kermit. He's a good guy. It's just, I think that might be a thing a little bit to where the way he played the game, it just kind of drifted by a little bit. And I was wondering, what type of coach does Ole Miss fans need to, if they want to look in the future, what would be a good fit in Oxford? What type of coach?
Yeah, well, I mean, you want a player's coach by and large. I mean, this is a new world. You look at college basketball over the last few. The dinosaurs are. I mean that respectfully. Yeah. The dinosaurs are kind of leaving, because they can't put up with this new world order that is college basketball, be it the transfer portal or NIL. But I think you're gonna need a guy a little younger, guy who is absolutely a player's coach, because you're gonna need that in this world. Even some coaches who weren't players coaches, I had this conversation last night, are kind of realizing they have to be more of a players coach now, with money, the exchange of monies, and that being okay. But a guy who's innovative, very creative, and with NIL, and a guy who obviously has had success. But I think you got to go younger. A guy who relates to the players well, and a guy who they can identify as successful, across the board. It's pretty universal. Yeah.
Okay, and Ole Miss fans are going to ask about these two, and I don't know if they are hireable or anything like that. I haven't dug into them, but they're going to ask about Chris Beard, and they're going to ask about Will Wade. What's your opinion on those two coaches right now?
I don't think Chris Beard's gonna. No, not this soon. No, because I think he still has some things that he has to sort out legally. And Will Wade, stranger things have happened. I can't see Will Wade. I don't think the stench is gone yet and there's still some things that have to be sorted out. People forget that, because I think as we're getting all this NIL money and where everybody's getting paid, everybody's happy. No, there's still some things that have to be panned out in that situation too. And I don't see any, especially at you guys' level. I don't see. No, I can't see that. No.
That's what I thought. I've actually said I don't.
No.
Yeah,
I don't have to go lower level.
Yeah, and what's the mid-major coaches that maybe Ole Miss fans need to pay attention to, that like a Dusty May or somebody like that?
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like in March and late March and obviously early April, that they tend to emerge. And the thing is, I could say who's who now, but then that guy could get the boot in the first round of the tournament. We forget about him. They're gonna want to go after a guy who gets to the second weekend of the NCAA tournament. That's gonna be the goal. More times than not, because that's usually a young, vibrant coach who's, it's like Shaheen Holloway, who can relate to players and who's got a lot of energy, a lot of ideas with this new world that we're going into, and who can relate to the players. So I think that picture will become more clear next month.
All right. So from what I've been gathering from you is Ole Miss needs to wait until probably the second week of the tournament, which would be about mid-March, late March, to even formulate their plan of somebody that in the mid-major realm would be available to be gotten. Right now, we just don't know who that person is.
Right, because the reality is you could look at a star like don't give me the name and names because I'm gonna get text. Why didn't you say me? You could look at a star mid-major coach, right? And he could be like, yeah, they're supposed to win the Colonial League, right? And they don't win. And then we're not talking about them because you're not hiring somebody that didn't get to the tournament or got dog walked in the first round by 30. You're not hiring that guy, right? You're getting a guy who was like the Giant Slayer, or a guy who you're looking for the guy that got to the second weekend because you can sell that. You're like, remember this guy? I mean, he was playing he second weekend at Sweet 16. I mean, imagine he can get us back to the tournament and he can turn things around. You can sell that. A coach can sell that to a player for sure.
Okay. And you think if Ole Miss makes a decent hire, if it comes to it, the signing class has a chance to at least be a little bit saved?
Yeah. It's all about the hire. Like, and your administration knows that. I'm quite sure. A strong hire will keep everybody right there intact. 100%.
Okay.
It happened all the time.
Yeah, I do appreciate it. Anyway, thanks again for making the Locked On Ole Miss podcast your first listen every day. Make sure you check out our brand new podcast, Locked On College Basketball. Everything you need to know about college basketball in one place. Plus, you get to hear from big name experts like Jason, insiders, coaches, and players. Locked On College Basketball. It's available on YouTube and wherever you get your podcast. Jason, thank you very much for stopping by. It's a weird subject for Ole Miss fans because, and they want to talk about it now, but we just have to get through February. This is going to be a rough month for Ole Miss fans, I think.
Yeah, I think it is. But, they tend to sort it out. And there are a lot of young rising stars in the profession. So I think help could potentially be on the way. So I just hold on.
All right. Appreciate it, man. And come back and see us again.
Absolutely. Look forward to it.